Welcome to Introduction to Business online offered by Harper College. My name is Dr. George Mochocki, and we'll be covering three chapters. Chapter 16 on promotion, Chapter 17 on accounting, and Appendix D or Chapter D on personal finance. Okay, let's talk just a little bit about last week. You did great on the SWOT, the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat form you did. I'm very proud of you. You did real well on that. You're beginning to use the first name. You're beginning to add a little more substance to your post, so you're doing very well on that. Okay, let's go on to this week. So we have, I'll go through the chapters first. Make sure you start using your concept maps so you could utilize that, and as the forms, remember, once the form is closed, you can't get any access to this. So if you get some information that you like in the form, cut and paste and start putting it into your business plan. So when you're ready to create the business plan in a few weeks, you will have most of the information. You just have to massage it, fine tune it, make it into a narrative paragraph format, and you'll be fine. Okay, first chapter, chapter 16. Now, chapter 16 is also going to be the same chapter you're going to be doing, what do you call it, your forum on, promotional. So let's talk first about chapter 16, your forum. On your forum in chapter 16, when you read it, what I want you to do, you have to basically list three promotional medias or tools you're going to use. So what I'm looking for is I'm going to use a billboard. I'm going to use newspaper ads. I'm going to use coupons. I don't care, what kind of campaign. So you're going to use three promotional tools, media type, and you're going to answer the questions for me. Why, when, and where? Why did you select this media tool? It's going to be a billboard or what do you call it, newspaper ad or radio or television. When you're planning on, what do you call it, letting it loose or opening it up. So when are you going to release the publications? I was trying to find the words for it. Release the publications on that. And let's see where, in which area. Because, basically what's going to happen in your business plan, when you're looking at your promotional media, you're looking at your target audience. So if I'm an investor looking at your business plan and you say your target audience are Generation Y or baby boomers, I would expect your news media would be related to the type of news media they would be reading. If I'm trying to target a Generation Y, the younger consumers now, I would not be doing the newspapers. They basically are on Facebook, Twitter, or online. Do you see what I mean? If I'd be targeting baby boomers, I would look at the newspapers. And which one? If it's business to business is your target customer, then you're looking at trade journals. Okay, so answer that, respond to that, and you should be basically pretty good on that. That's worth 20 points. So this is to build up on your business plan. Okay, so now let's go back into chapter 16, promotion. When I look at promotion, remember the SWOT analysis and all that you're working at, every chapter as a business leader or an entrepreneur or a business or a manager, I'm always doing a SWOT analysis. Anything I do, I'm always looking at the strength of the project, the weakness of the project, what opportunities, and what threats. That's how you have to start thinking as a business person going forward, whether you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or a manager. Because your decisions, they're very important. Okay, so on this one, so what are you going to be looking at? You're going to look at what factors mix. You're going to look at taking your promotional mix into an integrated marketing mix. What is your promotional campaign? What are your objectives? You're going to look at the advertising. Where are you going to advertise at? What are your major categories of advertising? Is it going to be the trade journals, comparative? Okay, popular advertising media. Which one and what kind of the costs? Let's see, global advertising. You're going to have how you're going to prospect your sales individual, successful sales. What's the difference between publicity and what do you call it, advertising or a marketing campaign? Remember, publicity is more credible to the average listener. But publicity, PR, in a lot of companies, is timed. They know when the mayor is going to be there. They know when the right questions are going to be there. I don't want to say it's staged, but they take something that happens, or they try to control publicity as much as they can. Remember, in a marketing ad, I control the whole message and everything else. In a publicity or PR campaign, I don't control it. I try to plant the seeds and try to put it in a way that it benefits the organization or my product or services. Okay, so make look at that. Look at what sales promotion is. Make sure you know the difference between word of mouth and the new word of mouth. If you look at the old word of mouth, if I would tell somebody you would have 5, 10 other friends, so you figure maybe if I was very popular, I may be able to reach 50 people. I mean, if I'm a real complainer. Nowadays, with Facebook, Twitter, and everything else, I don't have to be real popular. I post it, and if somebody catches on, it depends how popular the other people are when they start posting all these tweets or emails or Facebook or sending around. So when or social media. So when you look at now your word of mouth. One word of mouth, if you look from reading that, could reach thousands or hundreds or 500 up to 10,000 people, depending on what happens. Because look what happens to some of the YouTubes. How all of a sudden it became popular. A person was a no one, did something, caught on, and now she has or she has worldwide recognition, good or bad. Okay, so that takes care of our promotion. The next two chapters are going to be very critical. I don't want to really bog you down and stress you out. Now, accounting and personal finances, they're tied together. So if I'm looking at how I've set this up, your quizzes are you going to have on chapter 16 and personal finance and 17. Let's see, quizzes. What do I have here for quizzes? Chapter quizzes. You got 2 quizzes, and I forget how I set up. I think it was from 16 and 17. You'll have to look at it. But your connect basically McGraw-Hill Connect is going to be just on the accounting. That's going to be your hardest chapter. Now, when you go into your business plan, I have an income statement sheet in there. I want you to look at this accounting chapter kind of closely because you're going to have to do one balance sheet, one income statement, and one cash flow sheet for your business plan. Look, do not freak out. Please calm down. Take a breath. This is the hardest part of the whole thing, coming up with the numbers. This is, for most of you, your first online class, your first business class, or several classes. You haven't had me for accounting. You haven't had, well, I don't teach accounting, but you haven't had me for finance, you haven't had me for math, but you haven't had any accounting classes or anything to have any conceptual idea. What I wanted you to do, look at an income statement, look at a balance sheet, and try to put the line items. Try to do your best guess on the numbers. I'm not going to mark you down for the numbers. You know, but let's be realistic. If I'm opening up a hot dog stand, I'm not looking at $1 million of revenue coming in unless I'm selling more than hot dogs at my hot dog stand. Okay, so we'll take care of that. So if I look at accounting, make sure, remember, accounting is the language of business. That's why to learn smart. It's set up for 30, 40 minutes, but I want you to have a good handle of the accounting terminology. Because in business, when I'm talking to people, the bottom line is the dollar. I have to understand. You know, if I would tell you, hey, I'm buying your business, I want to buy your business, I says, hey, what are your revenue? $1 million. I want to buy it. That's it. I'm going to ask another question. I asked the wrong question. What is your revenue? $1 million. What are your expenses? And what is your profit? Now, with those things, and how much cash do I need? You know, do you see what I'm talking about? If I see your cash statement, your balance sheet, you know how much you owe and how much equity and everything else you have within the company, and I see your financial statements. You know, I needed 3 statements: your balance sheet, your cash flow, and your income statement. I basically have a general idea how well your business is organized or which areas I have to basically focus in on. Okay, so make sure you know the difference between bookkeeping, accounting, auditing, what do you call it, financial accounting versus regular accounting. Make sure you know the difference between the income statement, the balance sheet, cash flow, basic business terms. You know, look at LIFO, FIFO, and depreciations. Look at the ratios. When you look at ratios in this chapter, one thing to remember, when you come up with, most people could solve the mathematical equation. I give you the formula if you have any kind of math classes. Boom, boom, we put the numbers in, and here's the ratio. What do the ratios tell you? You look at the ratios, and you have to benchmark the ratios against the best industry similar to yours. If I'm Walmart, I benchmark against Target or Kmart. Do you see what I'm talking about? So I'll, because those ratios make a big difference. Because if I look at liquidity ratio, how quickly I move, not liquidity, turnover ratios, inventory turnover, how quickly I move inventory. If I'm looking at the ratios, the turnover ratios for a car dealer, maybe 3 or 4 cars a month, which is good. And I take those same ratios and look for a produce, a grocery store. If I have the same products for 3 or 4 months, I got some old, moldy vegetables and products. You see what I mean? So that ratio doesn't make it doesn't compare to the industry ratio. So remember, the ratios, the only reason they make any sense is when I'm comparing in the industry. Now, as an investor, I can see, am I profitable or if am I not profitable? Does that kind of make sense? So remember, look at the ratios for the industry, and it's a quick and balanced, quick, easy for you as a business owner, for investors to see which areas I got to focus in on to improve my capital flow. Look at the liquidity. What's liquidity? What's short term? What's long term? Usually short term is under a year. Long term is more than a year. Usually when you do your forecast, you need to go more than 1, 2 years, 3 years, because the environment that most of the businesses are working is so fluid and so I don't want to say toxic, but active. You know what I mean? It's always changing, so you can't plan for 4, 5, 10 years. When I was learning this, we could just say plan for 5, 10 years. You have a good idea. That's when the environment and everything was stable. But if you look at the economy, everything's going, it's not as stable. Okay, so we've got the accounting, so make sure you know that. And when you look at this next chapter, we're going to do on finance, and then I'll explain the difference between accounting and finance. First, learn the accounting. The last chapter you have to know is on your personal finance. What I would do is read the promotional ones and then do chapter appendix C or chapter D on your personal finance. If you understand your personal finance, look, you do everything else now. I never worked in a business. I never did this. I'm a housekeeper. I'm a stay-at-home dad. But you do the finance. You do the budgeting. You do the time management. You basically women. For research is showing you control most of the money in most of the households in the United States. Like it or not, you're very stable. You control the money. You know how to write the checks. You know how to balance the checkbooks. You're very focused on that. I'm not saying that men can't do it. Most women usually are controlling. That's what research is showing. That's why if you really notice, most of the ads and everything else and the promotion and everything else that we had before are targeted towards women because you're the one who basically controls the purse string. Now, going back. What's the difference between personal equity and owner's equity in accounting or net worth? No difference. It's just that one is different terminology for business, a different term, same conceptual idea. We just call it differently for your personal. What you're doing, you're budgeting, you're paying bills, you're planning in the future and your personal assets. You're buying insurance, which is risk management. You're looking at the best prices for different things. You understand when I should take a credit loan, which credit cards are better, how much I should pay for interest, or how much is my ARP, is that a good price, what is my credit score. Everything you're doing as a business is the same conceptual idea you're going to take over when you go to accounting and finance. The only difference is we have a lot more zeros. We have a little more different types of vocabulary, because what you call a check, we call a demand deposit. The savings account. You see what I'm talking about? Or a time deposit, a savings account. Demand deposit is a check. So it's just a different terminology related to checking, but you're still doing budgets. You're doing everything else. Okay, so look at this. If you understand this, you should understand. Executor, how to buy a house, planning the estate. What's the difference between your 401, IRAs, Social Security, annuities? Even though you're looking at this from your personal asset, as a business owner, as a management in my accounting and in my finance, I have to have journal entries because I'm paying you or you're paying me for the 401. I'm giving you a 401 option with my business plan. Okay, so those are the 3 chapters you're covering. And remember, look at the intro, look at your business plan information thing, and I have an income statement to give you quick and dirty. When you're looking at the numbers for the income statement, when you're going to say, what are my revenues? Just take one general number. You know what I'm talking about? If most businesses are broken down by each item. In this stage, you don't have that luxury. You're just beginning conceptually. So what you're going to do, if I'm a restaurant or I'm a beauty salon and I'm doing cuts, a restaurant, what's my average meal if someone comes into my restaurant at lunchtime? If I walk in a regular restaurant, $8 what I'd spend on average, and I got 50 customers. That's my average. And the nighttime, it's going to cost me a little bit more because during lunchtime, they're in and out half an hour. So I have more customers coming in. At nighttime, even though it's a menu, you can bring your loved one. You can spend a little more time. You can have a relaxed more meal. You don't have to rush. You're out of work. You're off from work, so you're spending more time in my premise, in my limited resource space of my tables. I'm charging a little bit more, giving a little bit, maybe a dessert, a little bit more, but I'm offsetting that cost because you're spending more time here. That the cost is going to cost you more for the meal. Okay, so I get an average price for my dinner meal, maybe $10 to $13. Okay, so I know so many customers, and that's how I'm going to work it. If I was a beauty salon, how many haircuts, how many things, just give you can break it down in product lines if you want to get an average cost, and that's all I want to do on this site. And then I'm looking more at the line items. Okay, so you do fine. So basically that's it. You're all done. You're going to be doing 3 chapters here. Print out the one thing. You're going to be doing chapter 16 on promotion, chapter 17 on accounting, chapter appendix D on personal finance, McGraw-Hill Connect. You're doing just chapter 7 on accounting, worth 30 points, and the regular quiz. You're just going to do chapter 16 and appendix D. Okay, and that'll be worth 30 points. Remember, because I said 30 points, I was kind of lightening up your load a little bit. So I'm not, but the points are going to be the same. It's just less work. It's just work more for the tasks you have to do. And then you have one forum, and you'll come up with the 3 different promotional medias and any other questions you have. And I think you should be all right for this chapter. So okay, so it's 3 chapters, a forum, a McGraw-Hill Connect. And a quiz, and we should be done. And remember, start working your business plan. Don't wait till the last minute, because we're already in chapter 6, and I think we only have a few more chapters, and we're done. So we want to wrap this up. You're learning a lot. You're doing well. You're doing well on the forums. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you online in a little bit. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is Management 111 online, Introduction to Business, offered by Harper College, utilizing Blackboard course management system, and I'll see you online. Bye.